Recorded and I'll see. Okay.
So welcome, everyone. I'm Larry Strasser. I'm the chair of the Christian Education Coordinated Area Ministry. Cam, last week, Eric gave a talk on queer theory and other topics. I wasn't here, and neither was Russ Pierce, who's probably still downstairs working the video, I guess, downstairs. But anyway, I was in LA, Russ was in Texas. So Emily Hoagland introduced Bruce and gave his talk. It was wonderful. If you haven't heard it and you want to, you can just get it's recorded, just like this is going to be recorded. You can go to Adult Forum, past meetings, click on it and you get a list, and you can just listen to Eric, and then you can listen to this talk. Okay, so anyway, welcome. I will be standing up occasionally just because I have to keep track of how many people are here. Right now, we have 7 online, I think. 9 online, so plus all the room full here. But any event, so which is a really good crowd. So thank you. And I'm going to let Eric introduce.
Turner has her hand up or something.
Oh,
It's just
that's
the cursor.
oh, no. That's not Amy.
It's offering you the opportunity to
Oh,
drag Amy
all right.
somewhere else.
That's not Amy, sorry. So I'm going to let Eric introduce the speaker, who is his son. And we're going to learn a little bit about Gen Z perspective on sex and gender. So here we go.
So this is not my son, this is my daughter. This is Alicia or Ali.
Sorry.
And we had a sort of list of people who thought about being here and talked about being here, and this is those lone faithful ones. So I'm really glad.
What happens when your dad's?
It's a but so this is Alicia or Ali, she, her pronouns, and thank you all for coming.
Almost true.
Okay.
I mean, it changes every week. So yeah, hi, I'm Allie. I at the moment use they them pronouns actually, but she, her is fine. I just like to say I will not make eye contact with any of you. I'm very sorry. Eye contact is uncomfortable for me, so I'll probably just be staring at the clock the whole time. I apologize for that, but yeah, I will still answer your questions and I will still acknowledge your existence. So hi, welcome to my talk on gender and sexuality. In like 5 seconds, how far I already screwed it up. Gender and sexuality. Today I'm going to be talking about. God, I say this like I have something prepared. I'm going to be talking about like the different gender identities that are like well known, I guess. The difference between like the different sexualities and like bi and pan and stuff like that. And then I'll be answering your questions in the second half. At least that's where I'm going so far. I have absolutely nothing prepared. This is a clipboard to make me look like I know what I'm doing. It literally says, don't F word up, and then a couple of drawings of bats. Like, it's literally nothing. So yeah, we'll begin with, that's my pen, it's fine. We'll begin with talking about what everyone at this point, I hope you know, there are 2 biological genders, which is male and female, which I think we all can assume the differences between them. But some people, just like, I don't know. Gosh, this is why I need to write things down, because I have no examples. Great. I'm getting messages from Eric in the back, and I'm so confused what they mean. But good. I like this mean. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, some people might be born into like a Jewish family, not want to be Jewish, or Christian family, not want to be Christian. I was born a man, but I don't really identify with that. I'll use an example that I used a while ago in another talk I did, which is there are 2 islands, male and female. Some are fine living where they what they were born into. I'm so sorry. Some might want to migrate over to the other side, and some might enjoy life at sea. And all of those are valid options. And you can change your mind at any time, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, those who enjoy life at sea are generally, as like a general term, like cisgender is for people who stay with the gender they were born at birth. So biological males identifying as male and biological females identifying as female, are cisgender individuals. Transgender individuals, I started an analogy. And it's not there anymore. I'm sorry, I'm really, really nervous. It's okay. So,
Got your back.
yeah. And then transgender individuals are people who migrated to the other island or went to sea or found another island, whatever they identified with. So yeah, that's non-binary people and transgender people for gender identity. Now, gender identity and sexuality are two very different things. They might affect each other, but they don't always. It's like a square and a rectangle. Like they might affect each other, but it's not a guarantee. So everyone knows that, well, everyone is attracted to someone unless you aren't. And then I know, it sounds stupid to say, but I have to say it because like there's people who are attracted to females and then males, and then people who just aren't attracted to anyone, like aromantics, who just are fine just dominating the world. That's the big joke, is aromantics, multiple domination. I've only met like 3 and pretty accurate. So a lot of people know gay, straight, and bi, and that's it. And that's not it, I gotta say. So there are obviously, if you're straight, you are attracted to the opposite sex that you were born. So if you well, not necessarily you were born. Hang on, let me backtrack a little bit. That you identify with. So I, for instance, if I was identified as male and I was only attracted to females, I was straight. And I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but I gotta put it anyway because I should have prepared stuff for this, but I didn't. And then like I think we don't know what gay people mean. Like gay is if you are attracted to the opposite sex that you identify as, and then bisexuality is a little bit more diluted because people think, oh, bis are just faking it, or oh, bis are just gays in denial, or straights in denial, or bis are aliens. I don't know. There are lots of people that think lots of things, but bis can just mean bisexuality means attracted to more than one gender. So it can be someone attracted to males and females and maybe non-binary people. Yeah, it's kind of like it's not necessarily a blanket term, I guess. I don't really know. It's not necessarily a blanket term considering like pansexuality is attraction to all genders or attraction to everyone, no matter, not everyone, attracted to multiple people, regardless. No. See, I dig myself a hole and I can't really come out of it. Yes, indeed. You like, pansexuality can be attraction to anyone, not everyone necessarily, and anyone regardless of gender, which is what I identify with most. And a lot of people are and like a lot of people are in denial that pansexuals and bisexuals exist. I don't really have a point to that. It's just like they do. Like, yeah, I don't really have a point to that. I'm very sorry. Yeah, as I said, gender and sexuality are very different things, and one can be like, you can be a transgender female and still be exclusively attracted to women, and people cannot ask why you transitioned, which I have got multiple times. It's like, oh my God, just stop, like, don't ask me these questions. But yeah, it's like a lot of people try to like, it's like Clue. They've tried to like find out everything they can about you before deciding if you are an imposter. Or like another game that I feel like 90% of this room would not understand. So I think you're gonna get that and you're gonna get that, and that's maybe it. But yeah, a lot of people think, I've said that like at the start of half these sentences. A lot of people think, well, I've got to say it again. A lot of people think that people, transgender people and gay people and all those things are liars, just like doing it for attention, which like, No, not right. I really don't know what direction to take this, because there's multiple directions I could take it. I could take it into. Yes. Sorry.
Could you maybe explain the difference between bisexual and pansexual?
Yeah, sure. I don't. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. See, I'm not really sure about this topic, but I think that bisexuals are like. Honestly, I don't know how to explain it in words necessarily, but bisexuals, I guess. I gotta silence my phone. That stressed me out. All right, be quiet. Bisexuality is when one is like attracted to more than one gender, but possibly not another. I don't really know. And then pansexuality is attracted to like all of the genders, just attracted to hot people.
Ellen, you may have covered this, but what pronoun do you prefer?
They, them, and she, her is all right. I'm not cool with he, him. It kind of, yeah. Yeah, I could go into two directions here. I could go into talking transphobia. I'll probably get to both of them. I can go to transphobia, or I can go into like gender dysphoria, which seems better, I guess.
What's the second one you said?
Gender dysphoria, which is like dysphoria. It's what transgender people feel about their bodies and their biological sex, and what people call them, what name, what pronouns, yada yada yada. So, which, yes,
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
go ahead. Neither do I.
But it seems to be, okay, so we have males and females.
Yes.
Okay, and we know physically what that means. But is the biggest hurdle in this whole conversation that we need to erase that and how people see themselves?
Well, I don't fully understand your question. I think what you mean is that we need to erase gender identity and like females, which I don't think a lot of people think. Like a lot of people, like I mean, plenty of people are just fine with how they were born. I think you'll definitely find a lot of people. I will get to your question in a second. Like I don't think anyone needs to like erase anyone. I feel like it's just a big, like we need to be more accepting of people. I think that's the main. This talk is just to inform, I guess, and for me to struggle for an hour. So yeah, math class isn't enough. I need more struggling.
So at large, a circle, you're saying?
Yeah, I suppose so. All right,
This is kind of piggybacking off of that, but would you say there's a difference between, or what is the difference between gender versus biological sex?
biological sex is the plumbing you were born with. And gender identity is what you feel like you are, or what you inside feel like. Like it's not necessarily impacted by how you act or how you are or what clothes you wear, but it's just how you feel and what you feel like you are.
I like your going into the phobia or the what?
Transphobia.
Yeah, can you do that?
I will. I'm going to answer a couple more questions
Okay.
and then we will. Did anyone? I saw you had a question. Yes.
Yeah. So Ellie, yeah, so I feel like Betty Shore, I think all of us would benefit from you touching base on both of those terms, transphobia and the other term you've used, so that when your presentation is done, I would like to be able to walk out the door and feel better informed and more supportive of people, you know, that are something other than heterosexual.
Mhm.
Okay, or even homosexual, because I think we all get that, right? Homosexuality and lesbianism, you know, are terms that I think all of us hopefully are fairly well versed about, and there's not a whole lot of confusion about, and correct me if I'm wrong. But these other gender identities are things that some people again are more versed about, others aren't. But I think we're all here so that we all have a better understanding of what these different gender identities are and how we can support everyone who is making this transition and be sensitive about it. And then the other thing is, I'd like to know what, you know, day by day, what is still the same about your life as you live it?
Yeah.
And how you relate to others? And what is really different now?
Absolutely. We can touch on that if no one else has got any questions. Any questions about gender dysphoria? Okay. We're gonna move on to transphobia and then we'll get to your topic. So transphobia is, I think anyone with the basic understanding of like Latin roots will understand, but like trans being transgender, phobia being fear, which is people who don't understand transphobia and instead of learning about it, they are hateful and cruel towards transgender people. And the same, homophobia is the same, but for gay, bi, pan people and all other sexualities. People who want to keep it the way that it was, I suppose. Keep it with, oh, men should only marry women and trans people aren't real. And I need to be mean about it on Twitter. So yeah, and transphobia can be external, meaning someone treats you differently because of your identity. Which sadly, a lot of trans people, including myself, experience pretty regularly. But that's why I'm doing these things, because I want to inform people about what's right and what's wrong. So yeah, like there are some people that think they're fine. But think they're fine asking trans people very personal questions like, have you had surgery? What genitalia do you possess? Like, and to gay people, how would you know? Have you ever had adult fun time with another man or another woman or a non-binary person, or you just haven't had the right sex yet? Like for aromantics and asexuals, like, oh, you haven't found the right person. So yeah, and then there's internalized homophobia and transphobia, which is often to gay and trans people, what they think of themselves is because of the way they were raised or the way that people treated them when they were younger. For instance, calling people slurs like, oh, just as a joke. Nah, that can seriously affect a closeted or out trans and or gay person. And that can give them a mental image of what's right and what's wrong. And they will think that they are in the wrong and that they are inconveniencing people. And I said, and I don't have anything else to say about that. Question.
When you meet a new group of people, are there questions that you appreciate them asking? I know
Absolutely.
that there are a lot of questions that are inappropriate and not okay, but are there things you appreciate from new people?
Yeah. So my default is always ask the group their pronouns, because it's easy and it's just respectful to ask, like, if you just meet a person and like they aren't wearing like a pronoun pin or they don't tell you straight out, you always ask them your pronouns and hopefully they'll ask you back. And then like there are some questions like just like, how can I help you, or like, do you need anything, or is there anyone who, well, not do you need anything necessarily, that's more of like a question for just in general, if you want to, like, if someone's going through a rough time. But like if people like, that's a good question. I gotta think about that because I don't meet that many new people, because I'm very like I stick to myself a lot because, you know, but yeah, I feel like you meet a group of people and they're like, gosh, I really don't know how to answer that.
It's okay with you though that people would say, hey, my pronouns are sugar, what are yours?
Absolutely.
That's
That's absolutely fine. That's great. It's to ask people's pronouns and stuff. Yeah.
And do you like, is it
And I compliment you on your style and.
Totally. You can compliment me all you want. Yes,
So how do you prefer, how would you recommend that we behave, like if we misgender or use the wrong pronoun?
a lot of trans people. How could you? No, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. That's a joke. I would just say, like, apologize. You don't have to like make a big deal about it, because a lot of trans people just want to like, oh yeah, it's fine. I actually use this. No, go get donuts or something. A lot of trans people like donuts. A lot of cis people like donuts. Everyone does donuts. Donuts are great, guys. But yeah, I'd say definitely like apologize and just like say, oh crap, I'll try to be better from now on. And just make a conscious effort for a little while. And then after that, it'll just become like habit. And become force of habit, because like it's just easiest to like, yeah. And then obviously I don't think anyone in this room would do this, but never intentionally misgender a trans person as like a derogatory thing, because that's just an asshole move. I don't even care that I cursed. That is a valid moment to curse. Yes, go ahead.
I'm interested in your experience and what led you to the moment of transition. Whatever you feel comfortable talking about, I know that is very personal, but whatever you feel comfortable talking about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So from like a very young age, I guess, okay, this is kind of a funny story. I used to like dress up in skirts like in my room, and if mother or father found me, I would just pretend I was doing it to make these two laugh. Like I remember that, and I would take any opportunity to wear a skirt to try to get these two laughs. It's like, as you can tell, I loved it so much. It was the best, and I always just acted more like, I guess, feminine. I was always, these two are absolute monsters, and they eat. This has a point. That's a lot. This has a point. I'm not just dogging my siblings. I love them both. It's because like they would always like pick it up with their hands. I would rarely do that. I was very dainty, and that was just me like expressing myself in the little way I could. And then in pandemic, I kind of came to the realization that men are effing beautiful. Men are so cute. And then I came out as pansexual I think I came out in like passing because I didn't want to make it a big thing to you. And like an early morning talk, but you wouldn't let me leave, you wouldn't let me go downstairs and watch Minecraft. You made me stay up and talk about stuff. But yeah, I'm very glad you did that, by the way. It made it much easier to come out. I came out as pan, and then I came out to both of you two as pan and trans in
May 7th.
Do you remember? I don't. Yeah, well, thank you for remembering. I came out to both of them as trans and trans she her. And that was just like my moment of I think we went dress shopping like the next day. Because I come out to everyone before I was ready to come out to them. So I was like ready to like, I'm out of here. I am never a boy again. Yeah, anyway, you had a question?
Do you celebrate transversities?
What?
It's just the anniversary of just becoming trans.
Well, I haven't had mine yet, but I probably will.
I'm scared. Would it help you, Ellie, when you said these terms, if I wrote them on the board, maybe?
I think so, yeah, because I don't have a dictionary in my brain. You are very smart and I am not. So
Stop.
I think yeah. It'd be much easier if I cheated and used your. That sounds really bad out of context. Moving on. What other topics were there?
Started from that with commenting that it was May, or you're wrong. No, it was May 7th, right? When you came out trans. And so, yeah, like I said, what does your life look like now? And how is it still the same, if at all?
Yeah.
And how is it different? And just the way you relate to the world we live in now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ways that it's the same, like like, a lot of people think that once a trans person transitions, they're only only this, only talking about how wonderful I am, like, and obviously, I am the most wonderful ever, but, like, some people are very, like, out there, because they just want to, like, be acknowledged and be respected, but a lot of times people just want to move on with their lives, so a lot of us, it's just like, we transition, we start wearing different clothes, maybe. I got my hair and my earrings, sorry. And then we just kind of like, and we ask, like, we could tell like teachers and administration like, oh, just call me this and use these, and like everyone hopefully respects that, and we just kind of continue with our lives. Some things that are different for me is I have to wake up an hour earlier to fail 3 or 4 times to do makeup. I dropped my earring thing, it's fine. I have to the night before I go anywhere, I have to be like, what outfit do I wear? But that's just me, because I am a very like expressive person in the way that I am. I like to like, if you don't like me, go away. I am too fancy for you. But yeah, I suppose that's not necessarily the same for all trans people. A lot of trans masculine people have like, if they can choose to like bind, which is to basically compress one's breasts until it looks like you have a flat chest, which a lot of trans masculine and non-binary people do. But some people might choose to bind or use trans tape, which is the same, but you just tape your breasts to your side. Sounds horrible. Trans masculine people are way stronger than me. It's very impressive. But yeah, a lot of people will do that, and that might be another thing, but it's just like sometimes you have to deal with transphobia, but that's those are the only big changes, really. I see at least, but I'm not like I'm not like, I don't speak for everyone. Yes.
One change I recognized was that prior to coming out to us and baby stepping out more as you felt comfortable, you were sort of a little bit hiding, like in photos, you were either not in them or you were sort of grimacing or you were hiding behind something. And then after that,
smile, but yes, go ahead.
you were just like, I'm here. You were just feeling yourself, you were feeling free, and it shows in your face, it shows in your expressions and in photos.
Yeah. As I was talking about gender dysphoria, a lot of trans people have horrible gender dysphoria. Mine rarely is like, I can't get out of bed, like painful, or like if you comment on me at all, I will go to the bathroom and cry for 20 minutes. I've definitely done that before, but like it's rarely that bad for me. I'm very lucky for that in that point. But yeah, like a lot of trans people have experienced like severe depression before they're coming out, and sometimes after. But like coming out could be a huge like, oh, finally, like it's like a huge weight off your chest for most people, unless they're just like the people I can't understand. They're so much cooler than me. Who just like, yeah, like I'm cool, I'm trans, like all right, bye. Like they're so cool. Anyway, yeah. Oh wow, you can get to work. Very, very good. Thank you. Oh, totally. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. Go ahead.
Has your friend group changed?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, just like from middle school to high school has definitely changed my friend group a little bit, but for the most part, I was just friends with queer people anyway. Because like they're objectively cooler. Oh my gosh. All right, yes.
How has school been?
Pretty good. Like, it's not, for me personally, it's not a whole lot different. It's just like, it's nice and some days I'll be like, oh, I've got to like do yada yada, but some days it's just like, all right, I gotta go to math now, or I gotta go to band. I'm no longer in, I'm very happy now. I'm in color guard now, because all queer people go to color guard. Again, square rectangle. Most people in color guard are queer, but not all queer people do color guard. That's completely off track. You have a question?
Yeah, I'm gonna use you as an example, but I'm not asking about you.
Go ahead.
7 or 8 years ago, we knew you as a young boy.
Mhm.
We go away 5 years and we come back and now we see this. Is there is there an acceptable question I could say? Have you, what,
Well,
or do I just say, oh,
there are
okay,
like, there are some questions, like, it depends on how well you know a person.
yeah,
And like, how close your relationship is. If you're like just meeting a person, like I've had some person just like, I've never spoken to before. He came up to me, he was wearing an American flag hat and a military, like, he was wearing a military camouflage like jacket. And he came up to me like, so do you have a penis? I'm like, nice to meet you. But yeah, there's like, it depends on if you know the person in like,
I know you.
yeah, I know you too.
Yeah, so,
You could say like, I suppose. I've got to think about that actually.
It's been 5 years. There was a pandemic. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, it's like, tell me anything you want, I suppose. Like, tell me what I can, tell me what's new, I guess.
I think it's, you could ask what gender you would like.
Well, yeah,
to-
absolutely.
and also, when I saw Violet's name tag, I was like, now, I didn't know you as Violet. Is that your name tag today, or is that your name now? And she said that it was her name.
Yeah.
And then I got away and I came back and I said, well, what pronoun do you like to be called? And she said, she or her.
That's very good. That's a very good way to handle things. Good.
I was gonna say, if you ever in doubt, just say, what are your pronouns? It's like saying hello in the community, just. What are
Yeah.
Your pronouns is your basic
Oh,
go-to.
yeah.
Yeah.
whatever about that.
I would never thought of that. One of the cool things as our kids were journeying through this, especially this summer, is we went to family camp like we've done 100 times before with new names. And one of the camper kids that, you know, we've gone to camp with forever, instead of just singling out these kids with new names, she invited us all to go around the table, started with herself. My name is Charlotte. It was Charlotte. These are names. My pronouns are she, her. Pointed to me. My name is Jessica. Instead of just singling out and being like, okay, this is different. You could reintroduce yourself and welcome everyone to do that too. And having Charlotte lead us through that was so special and wonderful. And actually experiencing this with our kids and their peers has given me so much peace and hope for the future. These are incredible people, and the changes that are happening are really hopeful and wonderful.
Before we go to any more questions, how much time do I have left?
Like 15 minutes.
Oh, beautiful. All right, we're gonna just go directly into questions now. Well, I talk a lot, all right? Go ahead.
So, Ellie, you feel like you started a new high school, right? You're at Littleton High, which is, right, so you went out of DPS, went to Littleton High for specific reasons. Do you feel like you have a pretty good support system there? And in general, how do you think teachers on the high school level and peers, not necessarily your group of peers, but just high school students in general, how are administrators, teachers, and peers, how well are they doing in both accepting youth that are coming out and supporting them?
I feel like in general, Denver's a very progressive state. I'm very happy about that. Progressive might not be the right word there. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, Denver is very open generally. We are very good, very like, hi, nice to meet you. What are your pronouns? Kind of state. And definitely school systems reflect that. Most people, other than like, oh, what you know, other than that guy, most of the students and all of the teachers so far have been amazing about it. And the administration and support system is great. It's generally like very cool. All right. I saw another question. Does anyone else have a question?
I just have a comment. I always remember, I have always thought of you as very fashionably dressed.
Obviously.
Even when you were younger, you had a real style sense. And I think it's marvelous. You really
Thank you.
have a fashion sense.
Yes.
So, you do live in Colorado, which has a certain kind of, mindset. I'm wondering, like, if we lived in a place like Florida or Texas where they're passing some of these laws that require teachers to refer to you by the pronouns that they associate with your genitalia or something, like if you lived in one of those places where parents could get in trouble, right, for supporting you in this process, how would that affect your life, do you think?
I would be a lot more like unstable, I think, and a lot worse off, I think. I think that the only purpose of those laws is transphobia and homophobia. Like, I see no other benefit other than like some people not wanting to change. And I don't think it's fair. I think that if I lived there, I would beg you to move like every other day. Because I would not be able to handle it. And I would correct teachers every single time, just out of spite, because I don't care what laws there are. Like, there are some things that are just and some things that are unjust. And I think a lot of people see that, and a lot of people choose not to act on those. Yes?
Two things. I love your hair. And for old school people who grew up with they and them are plural, I have no problem with the concept, but I have trouble with the grammar. And it's just really hard to remember to do that right. So we're trying.
Yeah,
Be nice, be aware that the old people are.
Well, I know I respect what you're saying, and you're completely right, but a lot of people who argue that they them isn't singular. I mean, it is. Like, if you don't know a gender of a person, like a book, you use they as a singular.
Yeah.
And just
Okay.
like, if it's tough for you, just pretend you don't know that person's gender. Or they don't like, they're the character in the book, you never find out about. Like, they're the mysterious cool person, like, and you just call them they. That's like, I think that's just a good mindset. And yeah.
Yeah, and on the news, one person was injured and they were taken to the hospital.
Yeah, totally.
Because, so that's fine. Oh, but the other thing that I was gonna say is then, that you are, I'm sure you're aware, very lucky to be in the family that you're in.
Right.
Because it's a fabulous family.
Yes.
And easier than a lot of kids have it, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of people that I know personally have very uptight families, and I just say, like, I can support them I try to support them however I can, whether that be with an example with a friend, it's called them M. A little while ago, they wanted a binder, but their family would not accept them, so they shipped it to our house and we got them a binder, and it made them exponentially happier. And there were no major repercussions from that, and just the little things and the big things, whatever you can do, like offering a person a place to stay if they've been kicked out of their house, or offering a person like support, or like, I don't know, like if a person needs to like give you their things because their family will like kick them out if they find out about it, like just be there for people, I suppose, is the best way to help people. I forgot what your question was. I think I went on a
No,
rant.
there wasn't a question.
Okay, anyone else have a question or comment? Yes,
Are you in the youth group?
I am. I go almost every time.
And how
Because-
does that work?
It works great. Everyone's very, very cool about it. We have like, at the beginning of every year, we have like a name and pronouns circle for people who, want to do things. And if someone transitions socially during that time, we're very nice about it. I saw you had a question. You had a question.
So I see there's gender euphoria and gender dysphoria. What is the difference?
Dysphoria is it's like body image issues, but exponentially worse. It's body image issues, but also perception issues and mental issues and all sorts of terrible things. And gender euphoria can be like, what I'm feeling when I put on this outfit today and looked in the mirror, that was gender euphoria, because like I looked feminine and I was so happy about it. And it can just be like the pure joy of like coming out, or wearing your desired clothes for the first time, or like still anytime someone uses my respective pronouns, it's like it makes me very happy whenever someone does that. Yes.
So I want to follow up on what Bubba asked about the youth group.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I thought this talk would be a good idea is that I've been doing the youth group here about 16 years now, and it's remarkable how it's changed over that time. There have always been queer kids in the youth group, of course. course.
Naturally.
But sometimes now, on a Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, a third to a half of the people who show up identify somewhere in the queer community, non-binary, trans, gay, lesbian. It's kind of remarkable, right? And I said this last week, I think, but maybe worth repeating that I think it's parallel to what happened when we stopped stigmatizing being left-handed, and suddenly the rates of people who reported themselves as left-handed just skyrocketed.
I'm sorry, we stigmatized that. When did we do that? I think you did such a great place.
The word in Italian for left is sinistra.
Sinistra.
So the word sinister comes from being left-handed.
That is so weird.
2 generations ago, like, you
Yep.
were not allowed to be left-handed. And once you were allowed,
That's
turns out a lot of people were left-handed. So I think something similar is happening with gender and sexuality, where kids are showing up to the youth group now in numbers that we didn't see even in an open affirming church 10 or 15 years ago. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, totally. I just want to say,
Do you sit in your naming circle each week?
We don't do that each week. That's an interesting question. Might be worth doing.
so I just want to say before I answer any questions, because I don't know where it was brought up, but at some point, like a lot of people in like, all I can really think of as examples is like in rap, some rappers like decide to sexualize lesbians or gays or like transgender people. It's like if someone does that, just cut them out of your life. And if they're an artist, just like don't play their music. Like, because like it's just, I know it doesn't seem like a big deal to some people, and to an extent, like if you could separate art from artist, if it's like music, then yeah. But if it's a person, cut them out of your life. Just want to say that. Questions?
I have a comment that how the pronoun thing is so helpful because it was probably 10 years ago in our sanctuary, David was talking to a woman that I didn't think I knew. And I went up and put my hand out and said, "Hi, I'm Heidi Stevenson, David's wife." And she turned around and she looked at me and she said, "Heidi, you knew me as Richard." And
That's so sweet.
it was, you know, if there were pronouns, if there was a pronoun discussion, she wouldn't have had to go back, you know, but I think the pronoun thing, and this is new information to me, how important it is, and that's what reflected back on that situation.
It's sweet that you knew that person. Any mention of a trans would just make me happy. You had a question?
I did, yes. So the use of the word queer is okay, because it didn't
Well,
used to be for.
It used to be a derogatory term. It's like a lot of black African American people. We use the N word as like a dude or a man, but that can just be like, oh hey dude, like it's just like yeah. And then a lot of queer people just like, that's ours, give that back.
Really? Okay.
And we just like, we took it. We are the queer community. This sounds weird to say, some like OG queers, like older people, don't like the use of the word, but that isn't like, that's just because they might have trauma with it because people would make fun of them. But yeah, a lot of people, we've reclaimed that word. It's ours now. It's cool to say for like queer community. And yeah, you got a question?
No, you said, I was just gonna say, like it's just a way of like taking the power back.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
After that
Yep.
word.
I just want to appreciate this community because
Absolutely.
you're here, and one of the first places our kids felt safe coming out was here at this church. So thank you.
Y'all are the best. And let's go with you.
Yeah, tell me if you, how, let's see.
It's all right. Sorry.
Sorry.
Take your time.
I'm interested in your relationship maybe with God or your faith life and how, if that's relevant to you, how that's been through this, how has God been with you?
I
through this
personally
process?
am an atheist. I don't super believe in anything just because like, I don't dislike Christians. I'm in a room full of them right now. I just want to say that like, I've definitely done my fair share of praying during my coming out, and yeah, I feel like it's always a good thing. Like if things are going really bad, I'll just be like, I'll pray, and that's just something that happens, and God's been a good part of my coming out. But yeah, yes.
Yeah, I just have a comment, and
Go
it's
ahead.
similar to your mom's, but the opposite. In that, when you, at camp, when I did your name tag, it was such a joy to be able to do that. And for you coming here and doing this for all of us, I think one of the greatest gifts anybody can give anybody is to be authentic. And I'm thanking you for you being authentic. And it's a privilege for all of us to know you and to help others in the community. So thank you for your courage and you're doing it. I just adore you and I love your style.
I still do that name tag is on my wall. It's a little more fun. Yes.
So Ellie, just as a springboard, something that someone else said, I don't know if it was whoever, but so you have such a wonderful, groovy, supportive family. And I think you know that, but I really seeing Jessa here and knowing the support and the kind of dad you have, and you are, I think you're probably one of the lucky ones.
I am incredibly
that
lucky.
you have a whole church community behind you, and you've got parents and siblings that have been raised to be so open-minded and accepting, and this really fundamental grounding that you have. And whether you choose to be agnostic or atheist or whatever, the fact of the matter is that you have had this underpinning of stability, but also foundation and community. And I think for anyone that goes through any kind of transformation, or really, 5 speed bumps one after another in life, that support and that sense of community can take you far. And you're in a room full of people, some of which knew you before you were born, and some of which have gotten to know you or watched you grow up. So hats off to everyone here, this church, and your parents.
Absolutely. One more question, then I have a little closing message, and then we're gonna be done. Yes.
This is a quickie.
Okay.
Have you ever felt discrimination or judgment from gays and lesbians?
From gays and lesbians? No, not gays and lesbians are the best. Gays are always the best, and then lesbians are always the coolest people in the friend group. Yeah, no, I've not. I think we can fit in one more, and then we'll do one more short one. Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So first of all, I want to apologize for my introduction.
It's quite all right.
But I've learned a lot, and I think a lot of people in the room have learned a lot, and this is if you really do, you should take a photo of this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For those that don't know these different terms, you can make a photo. And I would like to thank Ally very much for giving this perspective, and I want to also say that she, her, or she, him. He set the record for the number of people that attended for the adult forum.
I did not know that. Okay. Well, that's cool. Okay, I just want to end with a little message about how you can help queer people in general. A lot of queer people have very cruel families that do not support them because of their views on the world. Be that be the family they need. Be the people who will help. Be the neighbor. Be the one who helps thy neighbor when in their time of distress, or even just with simple things, just be there for people, just like you would your friend. Like if, I don't know, Bob's car broke down, you drive him to work one day. Be that person. Be the kindness in someone's day, be the thing that makes someone's day brighter. And that's all I gotta say.
There you go.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Round of applause, have you gotten doing this discussion? People that leave.
I think, yeah, I don't really know. Thank you all so much for attending. I'm fine to answer any questions after the time. I'll be around for like 15 minutes.
I do sincerely apologize. That's quite awesome.
No, I absolutely.
Wow, such a nice one. Let's